Hey everybody, welcome to conference. Always happy to extend this teaching out to our extended family wherever you live. So welcome. We've been talking about weather. Not the weather out there, but the weather here. We've been talking about the weather of our thoughts and the weather of our gut feelings. To pay attention to those, that weather, the weather patterns, and the weather between the people we love, our weather patterns between our interactions at work, the weather patterns that have to do with how we show up for the moments of our life. So a storm is brewing in my head, or I'm feeling it in my guts, like there's a storm in my gut. But also paying attention to when you're in a really sunny thought or a sunny feeling, and moving towards welcoming more of that. So as part of the choice that we've been talking about last week. This week we're moving to food. It's a big change, but not really. I'll explain why. So we're studying Jack Kornfield's The Wise Heart, and I'm just going to start with this quote by Yeshe, Lama Yeshe. And I took this from The Wise Heart. He said, "To become your own psychologist, you don't have to learn some big philosophy. All you have to do is examine your own mind every day. You already examine material things every day. Every morning you check out your food in your refrigerator. Why not check out the state of your mind? Investigating your own mind is much more important," as only a Tibetan Lama monk could say. So something we've actually done before is to use food as an analogy for our thoughts and our feelings. And I love this analogy because, we're studying psychology, Buddhist psychology. Psychology, for us, we say svadhyaya, getting close to ourselves. That's why we show up on our yoga mat, is to turn our noisy minds off and to be silent and listen to ourselves, get to know ourselves, understand our feelings. And when we do that, we train ourselves more and more. We're more able to pick up on life as the movie is playing in front of us, that it is our life and that we are not victims of it, but we are the stars and can make choices around how we write the script and also how we show up to play in the script. So the food's kind of a fun analogy, and later on in this chapter on page, I believe, 59, Jack talks about this idea of rotten mangoes and healthy mangoes as being this consumption. Like, we know if we ate a rotten mango, we'd get sick. But it's the same with our thoughts and our feelings and what we choose sometimes, choosing to continue to eat worry thoughts, continuing to choose critical thoughts. It's like choosing to eat a rotten mango and realizing more and more there's so much research to support how whatever it is we're feeling and thinking is affecting every cell in our body. And so we have heart attacks, we have ulcers, but now we understand inflammation is at the root of so many of our diseases, and that comes from our feeling and our thinking as well. So if we have the power through training ourselves, through yoga, through meditation, through breathing, to make better choices to eat healthy mangoes rather than rotten mangoes, we wind up being our more vibrant, healthy self, mind, body, and spirit. So this week I'm going back to a really old teaching back in, we call it the middle Shala. There's the first Shala, the middle Shala, and the ocean Shala. And so all of you will remember this. We were talking about feelings and thinking. We were studying Sean Aker at the time, the happiness advantage. And we had this analogy of a beautiful, healthy, organic peach that was grown by a farmer who loved farming locally, who used the best and the most natural things to lovingly grow his trees, and to serve his trees or to serve his peaches was like this amazing, beautiful nourishment to our body and our soul when we were eating this healthy peach that was grown with love. And then the opposite of that, so I took this far extreme and I used a Dorito or a bad processed chip that was different from that, like the far extreme of what we consume and how we feel when we consume that. And we were joking around about the analogy again, just being this idea that sometimes I want that Dorito. It's addictive and I just want it. It's salty and it tastes good. And it's kind of like that angry thought too, especially like righteous anger or criticism. Like, I want to take that because it tastes so good when I first get, oh, you're so wrong and I'm so right and you've made me so angry. But then you want the next chip. You want to keep going with it, until you've eaten the whole bag of anger and frustration, or maybe your Dorito was worry, because sometimes I get worried about things and I just take the next chip and I take the next chip till I've worked myself up. As we understand, sort of the neocortex can create all these things sometimes that aren't even true, until I don't feel well. You know how when you've eaten a whole bag of some chips, you just feel like crap? Well, it's the same when we've spent a whole hour or two gossiping, or spent a whole day being angry about something. Our whole body on a cellular level doesn't feel well. So again, this week, we're kind of going back to our old teachings. Jack Kornfield said, quite simply, we can choose between good or rotten mangoes. And the old quote from me was, we can choose organic peach thoughts instead of Dorito thoughts. And I apologize to Dorito or any of the chips, because they taste so good. But just paying attention and using this as a metaphor, using this as an analogy out there to say, how do you want to feel? And we have to choose based on that what we consume. And knowing that as yogis that we have the power to make that choice, a little space in between. Namaste.